Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Timeless Movie Podcast, episode number 135. My name is Victor Vasquez. Appreciate you joining me on the podcast and the channel where we just talk about movies here. Movies that come out in streaming or in theater. We'll break them down on this podcast. On the episodes, there's usually two parts. First part, non-spoiler. Gives you an idea about what the movie is trying to tell you as an audience member. And then also a little recommendation. Should you watch it? Should you skip it? And then the second part of the podcast, we dive in a little bit deeper. Start spoiling some stuff, give you some pros and cons, favorite shots, things of that nature. And then at the end of the podcast, we wrap it up by deciding, after one viewing, is this movie timeless? Does it stand the test of time to be rewatched various different times? Before we jump into this week's episode, though, I wanted to highlight Timeless Movie Podcast is available on all platforms like Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. Give us a follow, subscribe, let people know about this podcast. Would love to interact with you guys. Last episode, 134, I ended up talking about Ballerina from the world of John Wick. We return. Was it a good movie? Was it a bad movie? Listen to the podcast that way you can get my full thoughts. I will say that it has probably some of the most creative action that I've seen. Really enjoyed it. So again, go listen, watch, wherever you get your podcast. Go check out episode 134 of the Timeless Movie Podcast. Okay, that's all the housekeeping I'm going to say. It's every fifth episode. You know that there's a guest here.
Yeah.
We have none other than Omar Vasquez.
Yeah.
A.K.A.
No.
Mr. O. A.K.A. Mr. Every Five. A.K.A. Mr. Nintendo. Omar, how's it going, man?
It's going pretty good.
You like how I set you up where like I thought it was going to be a very simple intro and then had to give you more AKAs, you know?
But nobody calls me those AKAs, though.
I do.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. On this podcast.
Oh, okay.
Only.
So every 5 episodes, you call me
Mr. Nintendo.
Mr. Nintendo.
Anyway,
So,
Mr.
like-
We're not talking about Nintendo. We're talking about Universal's new movie from Dreamworks. That's right. We're talking about the live action remake, How to Train Your Dragon. Mr. Rome, you and I,
Let's get into it.
we just watched the animated version.
Yep.
You just watched it for the first time.
First time.
And so I really want to talk a little bit more about how that may have affected our viewing of this one. Maybe it didn't affect yours, but that's kind of what I want to discuss on this podcast. But just to kind of give you guys a thought and really an idea, me and Omar I've seen How to Train Your Dragon, the animated one, but I watched it a long time ago. And we just watched it this week in preparation for the live action remake, just to kind of see, to compare and see how both films differ in different ways. But like Omar said, let's go ahead and dive into it. Non-spoiler thoughts, give you guys our opinions without spoiling too much about it. Mr. Omar, I'll go first.
Okay.
I had a good time watching How to Train Your Dragon. Wasn't spectacular, wasn't great, but I feel like it was a good enough time that I could like see myself like, I never feel like I was dissatisfied. I will say that I feel like me watching the movie on Tuesday, I think it did impact my viewing. I think I watched it way too close to the live action remake. That's just my opinion.
Well, this is where it gets confusing.
Oh, all right.
How we talk about this.
Yeah.
Because like when you say it was like nothing spectacular,
Yeah.
I agree, but only because I just saw the animated one.
Yep.
Like, would you consider the animated spectacular?
Some parts of it, yeah.
The way I would describe the animated one, I don't think I would describe this movie, but they're the same movie.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird. I think we're in a weird spot.
We are in
I
a
don't know
weird
how to
spot.
talk about it.
Yeah. But this is why it's fun, though.
Fun?
Yeah, man.
How's that fun?
Because in this podcast, and for anybody listening, we're going to just spill our thoughts, man. And we're going to, by the end of it, we won't be in a weird spot anymore. We'll know exactly where we need to be.
You don't know that.
I'm hopeful.
Oh, okay.
Either way, I think, Omar, you have a good point. In the way that we're describing this movie is going to be really tough. I almost feel like, and I was telling this to Liz, is I feel like I probably should have gone in without watching the animated one and just having it be like a memory for me of like, I kind of remember this, and I feel like I maybe would have been higher on this live action remake. Do you feel like you maybe should not have seen the animated one and maybe watched it afterwards, or
No,
okay?
because I want to pay respect to the original.
Mm,
I'm not gonna go in there and see this one, and then I think whatever you watch first, you're automatically gonna connect with more.
or you're gonna favor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I didn't want to go in there and favor this one
yeah.
because like that's like a disservice to the OG. It's the same movie though.
It is. There's some added scenes. I will say that there's things that like didn't appear in like the animated one, but it's so minor that I don't think it's like it's not something grand. Even though I was still kind of confused why this one had like a 2 hour runtime as compared to the animated one.
Yeah, I really can't pinpoint how much extra time. Like,
yeah,
I don't know where those extra time came from.
yeah, it's really weird. But I will say there are still some pretty thrilling moments that I liked, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But my judgment of it is that I had a good time.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna trash this movie. It was fun.
Well, yeah, like to me, the animated didn't really have any flaws,
Yeah,
and so this one doesn't have any flaws either.
exactly.
Like I enjoyed it just as much.
I do have a con though.
Really?
Yeah, and we'll get there,
All right.
but not yet. A little bit of a synopsis. If you've seen the animated How to Train Your Dragon, you know this story already. For anybody that's coming in fresh though, maybe you haven't seen, maybe you're not a big fan of animated movies. Well, essentially in this story, you are basically dropped in with the main character named Hiccup. Hiccup is played by Mason Thames, and essentially Hiccup is in a island called Burke. He is one individual out of a lot of different Vikings. And these Vikings have basically been at war with dragons for centuries. And so that's basically his life. He is basically destined, or he thinks he's supposed to be destined to become a Viking and face off against various different types of dragons. And so his family been going to war with these creatures, and they make them seem like they're very evil. And then as the movie goes on, you eventually find out that these dragons are not what they seem. And Hiccup is basically put in a position. He either has to choose his community and become a Viking, or do the right thing and try to basically sway his community into thinking, you know what? Maybe these dragons are not what we thought they were. And so that's essentially the story. Again, overall, I liked it. I was never bored. I was never at a point where I was, again, dissatisfied. It was exactly like how the animated one was. It was, beat for beat, a lot of different stuff that I've already seen. And I feel like it was even more elevated because we had just seen it that same week. But that was my enjoyment level of it. Mr. Rome, if I pass it to you, what would be your movie recommendation like for this one? Like, would you recommend people to go see it in theaters immediately? See How to Train Your Dragon live action?
No.
Got it. Does it change if somebody has not seen the animated one?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because that's how I'm breaking it down. My recommendation is if you've never seen the animated one,
yeah,
check
go
this one
watch
out.
it.
Check it out. But then afterwards, check out the animated one. That way you
Yeah.
can kind of see which one you like better. For people like us that have seen the animated one already,
You don't have to go.
I don't feel like you're gonna gain anything. You're
Yeah.
not really. There's no extra value that I feel like you can really get.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Something else I also like was thinking during watching it,
Mm-hmm.
and even now, like, how should a live action remake be done? Were you gonna talk about that later?
No. I was gonna tell you that was gonna be one of my questions. Is where do these types of movies fall in? Like, I don't think they have a place really. Like, and I was thinking about this in my mind of like when you do decide to do a live action remake, what is the purpose of it? Is the purpose of it that you feel like there's an audience where people don't like animated movies because they feel like it's like a kids type of a movie? So you want to get more of an like adult base audience to come and watch it? What is it like that? Or is it because you feel like maybe when you see somebody as a human live action, you feel like, oh yeah, that people can connect to it more?
I unfortunately I think it's money.
Yeah. Or the obvious one. Yeah, it's money.
Because yeah, like I'd rather have a shot for shot remake than like a Lilo and Stitch situation where they change the story completely and like butcher it. With that said, a shot for shot is never going to compare to the OG. So it's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah.
And so I think it might just be money.
Yeah. That's the unfortunate part is that if you try too much to be different, people will go against it. Like, why are you changing the story? The first story was already
good.
And then if you just copy, they're like, well, what's the point of me watching this if I've already seen this story? I'm like, okay, is it to get new audience? Is it to get more money? Whatever it is. Mr. Rome, go ahead.
But that kind of goes like to a belief I have where like the original source something was made is what it's intended to be and can never be reproduced. So like a video game is a video game. That's it.
Yeah.
You can't make a movie of a video game. It's never going to be the same.
Yeah.
Same with like an animated movie. Same with the TV show. Like this original source, that's it. Like that's what the creator intended.
Yeah.
And movies are movies. Like you don't have to make everything a movie.
Yeah.
Like a movie's a very specific format. 2 hours long, beginning, middle, end. It can't be like you just can't remake everything. Yeah.
What do you think about this idea? There should be a rule where only terrible things and terrible projects can be remade. I saw that somewhere.
Somebody, like what?
Like let's say think of like a project that was terrible, like either a TV show that was like pretty trash or a movie that was not liked by the audience, and remake those.
I like that. That's a really because you know what I just thought of. This is not even a movie, but it's the Mr. Freeze character in Batman.
Oh.
The first time it appeared was in the 1950s, and it was stupid. It was like so stupid. And then in the animated series, Paul Dini brought back the character, but in a much more realistic and like a well thought out story. And now he's like one of the most popular Batman villains.
Because you can connect with him. Because you understand his backstory, and you're like, this guy's like a pretty sad character.
And he invented that backstory for the show.
Yeah. That's
a good idea.
Yeah.
Remake things that are terrible and make them better.
Because even if it comes out terrible, project already sucks, you know?
No, that's a win-win.
Well, that's just a good thought, Mr. Rome. I'm glad you brought up that kind of a conversation piece. I'm happy to kind of dive into it more. But that's really our overall non-spoiler thoughts. Hopefully that didn't sway you. Again, we're not trying to bash the movie in any way. Again, it's still a good time. So if you want to check it out, go for it. These are just our opinions. But if you've already seen it, animated or live action, let's jump into spoilers. Let's start kind of spoiling a little bit more. Let's start talking about the things that we liked and didn't like in this spoiler section. Mr. Rome, I'll let you kick it off. First pro,
it's hard to not have like a standalone pro. Like I feel like all my pros are like compared to the original.
Yep.
So like one thing that live action could get better than like animated is for me is the action. So like let's say that final climax where they fight the giant queen dragon.
Yep.
That part was way cooler in this movie.
I agree. It feels like the stakes are a little bit higher for some reason. Yeah, a little higher,
yeah.
Yeah. Knowing that, like, I guess, again, because of that human maybe connection that we see in live action, that you're like, okay, whoa, like something really terrible could happen like that. Like, you know, obviously we know what the outcome is of the movie, but knowing that, like, oh, damn, they're facing this dragon. It looks way more massive in the live action than it did in the animated one, which I don't know if maybe the animated one kind of had the same size queen dragon, but I feel like in the live action one, I feel like it was even more massive.
Yeah.
And so that's a good call. I think the action is definitely where you can see it hopefully excel more, just because it feels like you're actually like when he's flying with Toothless, you're like, you can actually feel that. And in the animated one, it's like, it's a cool little montage. It's a cool little thing that he's doing with them. So I like that, man. I wanted to let you know one of my pros, CGI, the visual effects.
Yeah.
I thought they pretty much did a great job with the dragons. They kept them to the source. Like all the dragons that come out in the trial, all the ones that they face off against, they all look exactly the same, but obviously more modernized. I won't say that it's the best dragons that I've ever seen. You've never watched House of the Dragon. You've never watched Game of Thrones. The dragons in that show, man,
they look better than this.
Legit, man. Then like the style that they have, they look like creatures that like, oh man, you don't want to mess with these kind of creatures.
Yeah, they look more animated.
Yeah. And knowing that it comes from something that's a little bit more for like a younger audience, you know, you can't make something that's like, even the queen dragon like that, although it looks kind of scary, it could have been made even scarier if they wanted to. But that's just my pro. Visual effects, CGI, I thought it worked. Again, it's just those little details. I'm glad that they didn't change or add anything else that made the dragons look kind of weird. And I'm glad that they still have their own kind of color distinction to make them look a little different. Random question off the cuff. Did you have a favorite dragon that you liked that you saw in the live action one?
The live action?
Yeah. I'll tell you mine first if you want to think about yours as well.
Yeah, which one's your favorite?
Mine is, I looked up his name, Hook Fang. He's the one that...
goes on fire?
The one that's on fire. That something about seeing it in live action with the fire burning around the dragon coming to Hiccup, that looks so cool.
Yeah, that was cool. I mean, I like the creativity.
Yeah.
Like that, a dragon where its entire body is like engulfed in flames. Or I really like the one where it's two heads and one lays out the smoke, the other one sparks the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that's creative. That's cool.
Speaking of sparks fire, did you notice that the fire would be like sparks?
It was exactly like the two-headed dragon, but in one head.
Yeah.
That was cool. And that's new, right? I don't remember seeing that in the movie.
In the animated one, I don't think I remember seeing that. And yeah, when I saw that the fire spit out, like when one of the characters would be behind like a little bunker, the sparks like look almost like a firework, like the 4th of July fireworks that you would get.
Yeah.
Like something like that. And it looked super cool. Like I thought it was a unique take for fire coming out of a dragon itself. We always see it as like a flame, almost like a flamethrower shooting out.
Yeah.
For the sparks, I was like, oh, that's a pretty nice touch.
Well, now you bring up the CGI and the fire, like the fire was a really good CGI work.
Yeah.
Like especially the queen dragon when it was firing into the sky.
Yeah.
Dude, that looked really good.
Yep. Yeah, that's good stuff, dude. Shout out to the VFX artists, the CGI, everybody that did a great job. Everything looked like they just nailed all the different types of touches for the dragons. Mr. Rome, any other pros on your side?
I might have to think of a few more.
No worries. I got one more.
Go.
Only one more. It's the combination of the cinematography and the production design of like the movie. So I'll start with cinematography. Did you notice that some of the shots look really epic? Like there's this one shot, and this isn't my favorite shot, but one that was close to it was when Stoic, who is Gerard Butler's character, is going to the nest, and then they break a hole, and he's standing in front of the hole, and you just see his silhouette.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, this looks like its own Viking movie. Like it almost transported me into like, they could have really done a separate movie just on like their adventure to the nest. And it would have been like, something not in the How to Train Your Dragon realm, but I thought it looked really cool and like almost reminded me of like the Northman. Like I know that you never saw that movie, but it felt like that, like something like visceral and like very raw, and like how you're just standing in front of it. Like it looked really cool. And so I feel like a lot of the shots in this film and the live action is probably the benefit of why it's live action, in that you can make more cinematic shots as compared to animated. Animated, it's like, every shot is almost perfect, but in live action, like not every shot is like very clean, but the ones that do, they stand out. And I'm like, I really like that shot of him just standing in front of the cave. There's one where Hiccup is like, before he's going to face his final trial, he's like waiting in the hallway and you see his silhouette like all scared. And there's just a lot of things that they were able to pull off. And again, I think that's the benefit of being able to see these actors in real life. And then it kind of leads me into the production, like everything from like the trial arena, the island that they're on, where Hiccup meets Toothless, everything felt like authentic. Like it was either a real place, or it almost feels like, oh yeah, this, like it's from a time long, long ago. And so
yeah,
I really like that.
Or like, did you notice in the credits, it was like a bunch of B-roll, but
yeah,
it was like actual on location sites.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of merging like this. Is it fantasy? Is it real?
I like that. I like when there's a mix, like when it kind of tries to not try to fool you, but just try to like, hey, look, this looks so authentic and so real. Like, is it a part of our history, or is it just like, some type of a folk tale that we're trying to tell you, So
yeah,
nice.
And that's a good, like, I didn't even realize, but like, if you're like a fan of the animated one, you won't be disappointed in how it was like adapted, because they didn't like cut any corners. You could tell they really everything is like exactly like the animated, but in real life, from like costume to set design, everything.
That's another one I didn't call out, is the costuming. I think that's like another benefit of the live action, is that you could actually, it almost is like something you can feel, like, oh yeah, like whatever like straps that Hiccup is wearing, like that, the leather that he has, Astrid, like whatever kind of outfit she has as she's battling, and like everything just looks super cool.
Yeah.
Mr. Rome, any other pros on your side?
No.
Let's move into the cons. I only have one. I can kick things off. One of the reasons why I said at the beginning that it wasn't something spectacular, it wasn't something that really kind of hit the same highs, to me, Mr. Rome, is the one kind of nitpick I have is the fact that I really didn't connect to the Hiccup character as much as I was hoping for. And again, could it be because I just saw the animated version? It's still stuck in my head. But when me and Omar watched it, and this is for, again, anybody listening, you obviously aren't aware of this conversation, but I told Omar that I thought Hiccup's story at the beginning of the animated version almost feels like Spider-Man 2. He's got no friends. His community doesn't like him. His dad
His
disowns him.
His life's falling apart.
His life's falling apart. And his only friend is the supposed enemy, a dragon. And so like from that point on, everything changes. And I told Omar like, hey, like this is probably one of the most like bleak types of characters. Like he's a loner. He has nothing. And he eventually ends up converting everybody to like that same mentality of like, hey, dragons, they're actually good. In this film, in the live action remake, I couldn't get that same feeling. And I wasn't trying to, like, I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to be stubborn and only connect to the animated one. I just something about, and it's not like Mason's performance, like the actor, it wasn't him, but I'm thinking of something like that. I don't think it's going to make sense, but I'm going to try to articulate it as best as I can, Mr. Ohm. Is the reason that I couldn't connect with him because of the way he looks, where he wasn't wimpy? Or his voice wasn't wimpy?
He looked a little too cool.
Yeah. Because, I mean, Mason Thames looks cool.
He reminded me a lot of Drake from Drake and Josh.
Oh.
And so that I couldn't really, he didn't look wimpy.
Yeah. And that's another reason why I feel like from the animated side, why I connected so much with Hiccup is because he sounded like a wimp. He kind of acted kind of like wimpy.
Like, this is like my same con. I was going to say the exact same thing.
Okay.
I couldn't connect with the characters as much as I connected with the animated one. My theory was, maybe do you feel like more sympathetic towards animated characters? Like when you see an animated character, like I don't know how to explain it. Like when you see a human character, you don't feel the same way as when you see an animated character. Like animated character is more like friendly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to describe it. Like it's almost like an animal. You know, like an animal, you're more sympathetic towards the animal than to like an actual human. I feel like that's the kind of the same thing with animated characters. They're more sympathetic towards them simply for the fact that they're animated.
You think it's because like we see humans on a day-to-day basis that it's just like for our eyes are like, okay, I've seen this before. But when you see an animated character, you're like, well, I don't see this, every day. Like, so maybe you're right. Like maybe it's like that feeling of because an animated person or creature is so different that it's not in our daily lives that like, oh yeah, of course I'm going to pay attention more. Or of course I'm going to like try to connect more.
Maybe. But yeah, I feel the same way. Like I really didn't really connect with any of the characters, and also like it kind of felt like there wasn't as much like heart.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's like the anime felt like it was like filled with something. There was something there.
Yeah,
it's a weird. It's not like an actual critique. It's almost like a feeling.
Yeah,
it just didn't feel like authentic.
Yeah. Which is strange because I kind of mentioned this to you a little bit before. The director is Dean DeBloy, and he also directed How to Train Your Dragon, the animated version. It's so weird that it's the same director. It has the same vision. This is an opportunity for him to shed more light on different areas. But to your point, like I just couldn't connect with the characters either because of, just that feeling or how they look. I was like, I don't know. Something about it is very interesting. Guys, settle the debate for us, for me and Omar. What do you guys think like that? If you've seen the live action remake of How to Train Your Dragon, let us know in the comments below. Is it because the characters look too cool? Is it because animated characters, we have more sympathy for them? Like we can connect more? Let us know what your thoughts are down below.
Like what if we try to imagine like a cartoon character in real life right now? Mm-hmm. Like let's say Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
And think about the feelings you have for Homer. Now think of a live action Homer. Would you have the same feelings for him? Like you wouldn't, right? You would care more about the animated one.
Yeah, I don't think I would laugh as much like that. I was like, as much as you laugh at like Homer. So
something's there.
Definitely is. Mr. Orr, any other cons that you have? No. Okay. Well, let's hope that everybody that eventually listens to this episode will help us on that debate on what they think or the theory as to why we couldn't connect with it as much. Before we move on to some awards, Mr. Ohm, awards for MVP or best moment or best scene, I wanted to bring up not a question.
Is this trivia?
But not a trivia.
Oh.
A little top 5, Mr. Ohm.
Top 5?
Yeah. And this is for everybody else that's listening and for the audience.
What segment is this?
I don't know. Maybe a top 5 segment. Or maybe a critique segment.
Brand new?
Because I want you to critique my top 5.
All right.
I'm always telling Omar different ideas. I'm pitching him, hey, Omar, let's do this. And Omar's answer is always, nah, man, don't force it. So you know what I'm going to do now? Is I'm just going to include it in the episodes without you even knowing, Is
this related to How to Train Your Dragon?
It is. Mr. I made a list of what are the best relationships of friends between a human and a creature.
Ooh.
I'm not expecting you to come up with them. I have a list,
all right,
and I want you to grade them. I'm going to give you some honorable mentions first. Shaggy and Scooby.
Okay.
I didn't include in top 5 because I feel like I haven't seen them. I'm only doing movies.
Movies. All right.
Not shows. I know that if we were doing shows, Shaggy and Scooby would be number 1, you know? Alfredo and Remy, Ratatouille.
All right.
They help each other, right? This one was hard.
Are these honorable mentions still?
These are honorable mentions.
All right.
This one's a little hard one. Woody and Bullseye. They get their moments in Toy Story 2, but if I remember correctly, in Toy Story 3, they have interactions, but not so much, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like if they would have had more, I would have bumped them up. Mulan and Mushu.
Oh, that's a good one. That's honorable mentions still?
Honorable mentions.
How many do you have?
This is one more.
All right.
This was the
So
hard
you have
one.
5 honorable mentions and then 5 top 5?
Yeah. This
right.
was the honorable mention that was the toughest that I wanted to put in, but I want to get your thoughts. Shrek and Donkey.
Oh, that one's out?
The reason I didn't include it is because Shrek's not a human.
Woody's not human either.
Yeah, but he's human-like. He's a human.
All right, let's get to the top 5.
All right.
I want to see this.
Well, I don't think you're going to like him at all. So these are more jokes as well.
Okay.
But number 5, Owen and Blue.
Owen uses Blue. That's not a friend.
That's not a friendship? Okay.
No.
Well, I mean, Blue comes to save him.
Yeah,
Jurassic
it
World.
does.
4, Mr. Home. Loak and Payakan. Loak is from Avatar Way of Water and The Whale. Do you remember that?
Dude, what? I don't remember that. I saw that movie one time. Man.
I know. Me too.
I forgot all about it.
But there's a great connection and friendship between this
Oh,
Loak is a
I'm
loner
starting to think about it. I'm starting to remember now.
and he has a whale, and the whale saves him at the
Oh,
end.
yeah, that was pretty badass.
That was, dude, and the whale, no talking either. That's another reason why I disqualified Shrek and Donkey and Mulan and Mushu, because the creatures talk. I
Yeah.
wanted to find something that where the human...
That's a good dynamic, though.
It is.
Yeah, it's like Shrek's like the straight character.
That's true.
Donkey's a funny one.
3, Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, that was good.
Great combo. 2, Hiccup and Toothless.
Okay.
Animated. Not live
Animated.
action. Number 1, Han and Chewie.
Oh, yeah.
Even though Chewie kind of has, that
Human.
human-like character, but he doesn't talk. And so I felt like he was a creature with Han. I thought that was number 1.
Look, I'm going to weave in one of my personal beliefs into
Please.
this top 5 that has nothing to do with any of this.
Please.
But I firmly believe that origin stories should not exist. Like, I truly, in my heart, believe that. And your list just proves it for me. You know why?
Why?
Han and Chewie have such a great relationship, and we don't know how they meet. I mean, we do in Solo, but for the first, 30, 40 years, we didn't know how they meet. But they have a ton of backstory with, the way they interact. Mm-hmm. They have chemistry, and they've been friends for years.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you need in movies. You don't... To show us how good friends people are, or whatever, you don't need to show us the beginning.
Yep.
Show us in the middle, and
And make your own backstory.
Yeah.
Why are they such great friends? I don't need to see it. I don't need to see when they actually meet, like in Solo. Just let me know that they're great friends.
Dude, come on. And that goes with everything.
Yeah.
If you want to make somebody look like a badass, just make them the badass already.
John Wick.
John Wick. He's already John Wick. We don't see how he starts.
They just tell you he's the Baba Yaga.
Yeah. And that's all you need.
My goodness. Great movie.
Anyway.
Dude, I was trying to figure out how you were going to weave in the origin thing, but it was a good call. Good call, man. Mr. Rob, what did you think of the top 5? That's pretty good, no?
That was pretty good.
Maybe we'll make it into a full-on video next time.
No, I think you should keep doing this. Make it
Of
tiny
course.
segments in these. Try to find top 5s in every movie.
I think I am. Well, guys, let's go ahead and finish this off with the awards. We can make this one quick. We don't have to spend too much time on it. Mr. Rome, if you could choose an MVP, best performance, who's that performance that really made it for you? Even though we just went in on saying that none of the characters could connect with us. I'm now telling you, which character was your favorite?
I think we might have the same one.
Okay.
Gerard Butler.
Up top. I thought he was really cool.
Hell yeah.
And he's the one that, again, he also voiced the same character. But I don't know, seeing him in there, he brought that same energy. His facial reactions were always on point with how he was feeling.
Yeah. Very believable as a Viking
Yes.
king.
Mm-hmm. And you could also see some of the emotion, when he got super excited that Hiccup was the one selected. It's no, my son. Yes.
Or I've always loved that conversation, even the animated one, where right after he comes back and he's like, now we finally have something to talk about. So he could pull off funny scenes. He could pull off serious scenes.
Very versatile.
Yeah.
So congrats to Gerard Butler for our favorite performance and MVP of How to Train Your Dragon in the live action remake. Moving into best moment, Mr. Rome, what's your best moment, best scene that you enjoyed out of the live action remake?
Best moment.
And before you answer, I feel like we probably have the same one. Maybe.
Think so? Yeah, I think we do.
Okay.
The flight scene.
Yeah, man.
I know that was cool.
I mean, that's the high that I think this live action remake was able to achieve that the animated one was also able to do. Like that was the one moment where I'm like, okay, how are they gonna is it gonna be exactly the same? I feel like they extended it a little bit more, but the rush of them like working together and like flying through the cliffs.
And it looks incredible. The
music hit. It was like it's super loud. It was cool.
Yeah.
That was a good one. And a little bit harder one, Mr. Rome. Best shot or frame of How to Train Your Dragon.
This one is tough.
I can go first if you want. I'll give you some time.
Yeah, go ahead.
My favorite shot is not going to be the one. I feel like everybody's going to choose the one when he sticks out his hand and like, he touches him right there. That's not my favorite
I would argue
shot.
that one looks ugly.
In the live action?
Yeah.
You think it's because it was like sunset? Where like it looked really weird. Like the coloring of how it looked in that scene.
Maybe.
That wasn't my favorite scene. My favorite scene is when he's bringing him fish. And like he sticks out the fish like this, like that. And then like you just get this wide angle of like Toothless slowly coming towards him, but not getting too close. And it's like Hiccup just like this. I don't know. Seeing that like one shot, that looked pretty cool. Something about that.
That was your favorite shot?
Yeah. And that represented to me the friendship, the friendship that I wanted more of, that I just didn't get.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, that's cool. I think my favorite one would be the Queen Dragon in the air.
Oh.
There's like a scene where it's like surrounded by clouds.
Yeah.
It's like a shot from far away.
Yep.
Where you kind of see its silhouette within the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
I think that looked really cool.
That was epic. That final battle, that whole scene, like of the final sequence of them facing off against the Queen Dragon was really cool. Guys, those are our spoiler thoughts about How to Train Your Dragon, the live action remake. Let's go ahead and close this out. Final segment. Mr. Rome, we have to decide after one viewing, is How to Train Your Dragon timeless? Is it something that you can see yourself rewatching in the future? This almost feels like we're cheating because we've seen the movie twice.
Yeah.
Animated and live action. But we're only deciding on the live action one. Mr. Rome.
Only on the live action one?
Only on the live action one. Is it timeless?
Will I rewatch this one over the animated? Because I like the characters more in the animated, but I like the action more here.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I'm going to say no. Because I'll just be thinking about the animated while I'm watching this one.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm gonna have to agree with you, man. I had a great time. Besides my one nitpick of not connecting with the characters, but that one nitpick is the main reason why I feel like I can't consider this one timeless. Is because, again, I didn't feel like that true connection between Hiccup and Toothless. I wanted there to be more. And again, it might sound messed up. I didn't want Hiccup to be like down in the dumps the entire time. I didn't want him to be like you got to feel bad for him. But that's what the animated one made me feel like.
Yeah.
I wanted him to really be like alone. And then when he finally getting to meet Toothless, that's when his life starts turning around. And I just didn't feel that connection. I like, the music was really loud and it was like, I could see it impacting some scenes, but I also felt like the music was just a little bit better in the animated one too. And so, yeah, for those reasons, it is not a timeless movie for me. I think I would always choose the animated version to watch over this one. Guys, those are all of our thoughts. If you stayed all the way through to listen to what me and Omar had to say, thank you so much. But more importantly, let us know, what did you think of How to Train Your Dragon live action? Do you agree or disagree with me and Omar have to say? What are your theories? Were you able to connect with these characters? And if you were, let us know why. Would really be interested to know more about your guys' opinions on this movie. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to our thoughts and our opinions. Thank you to Mr. Ohm for joining me again, man.
Every 5,
man. 140. Can't wait. We got still a lot of June movies coming out. You might be doing another one in June. You never know.
I hope so.
Well, Mr. Ohm, thanks so much for joining me, man. This has been episode number 135 of the Timeless Movie Podcast. Make sure to check out the next episode where we'll be covering a new movie and we'll be deciding after one viewing and one watch, is it timeless? All right, everybody. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you guys later.